Hello, welcome to High Spoilers. Today I will show you a 2021 horror thriller movie called Candyman. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. 1997. A little child in the Cabrini Green slums is informed by his mother that he must do laundry. He passes some police officers on his way to the washing room. The youngster hears a man humming while alone in the room, and then watches as the man emerges from a hole in the wall with a hook for a hand. The police hurry inside after hearing the boy scream. Presently, Cabrini Green has undergone gentrification. Troy Cartwright is visiting his sister Brianna and her boyfriend Anthony McCoy in their new apartment with his lover Grady Greenberg. They talk about the local urban legends, including one about a woman named Helen Lyle. Helen was a student looking for a story on what happened at Cabrini Green, but she supposedly went insane and kidnapped a baby before a mob returned the infant, and Helen was burned to death in a massive bonfire. Later, Anthony pulls up information regarding what Troy was talking about. Anthony meets William Burke while out the next day, who tells him how Cabrini Green didn't used to have such a significant police presence until more white people moved in. Burke tells Anthony about the local legend of Candyman, a terrifying creature. Burke was first introduced to Candyman as a child. He was the boy in the opening scene because he knew a man named Sherman Fields, a local with a hook hand who used to give candy to kids. Sherman was the main suspect when a little white girl discovered a razor blade in her Halloween sweets. Burke unknowingly assisted the cops in tracking down Sherman after he shouted, and the cops savagely beat Sherman to death until he was unrecognizable. When more razor blades were discovered in candy later, it was too late to understand Sherman was innocent. According to tradition, if one stares in the mirror and says Candyman's name 5 times, he will materialize and claim his victim. Anthony is photographing in the vicinity when he is stung by a bee on his right hand. Anthony is an artist with a show at the same gallery where Brianna works. Onlookers are challenged to stare at their reflections and say Candyman's name 5 times in front of the mirror. Anthony encounters critic Finley Stephens, who chastises him and other artists for taking a stand on social concerns. Anthony is enraged and snaps at an attendee who asks him a condescending question before snapping at Brianna's co-workers Clive and Jerrica Cooper. The former claiming that Anthony only got into the gallery because of Brianna. But Anthony manages to get a diss at Clive before leaving. At home, Brianna tries to console Anthony. Meanwhile, when the gallery closes, Clive and Jerrica try to hook up. Jerrica says Candyman 5 times as they stand in front of the mirror. Candyman comes in the reflection after a few seconds and slices Jerrica's throat. Clive notices Candyman in the shadows approaching him, but despite his best efforts to flee, Clive is cut to death, and his body is dumped next to Jerrica. The next morning, Brianna discovers Clive and Jerrica's bodies. This brings back memories of her father jumping out the window to his death when she was a child. When the news reports that their bodies were discovered in front of Anthony's exhibit, he appears confused and milky-eyed before just saying that he's glad he was mentioned, which Brianna and Troy find repulsive. Anthony's bee sting becomes more wrought with time, necessitating the application of a bandage. He then goes to Finley's house for an interview, where he shares his concerns regarding gentrification in the area, and in general, Finley is challenged to say Candyman's name. Anthony is attracted outside the apartment as she goes to the bathroom, where he looks in the mirror and sees Candyman as his own reflection, his hook just where Anthony's hand is. We watch Candyman's unseen spirit attack Finley in the bathroom, slicing her throat and dragging her face across the window as Anthony walks away. Anthony begins to learn more about Candyman and Helen Lyle. At the library, he listens to the recordings Helen made while in Cabrini Green, detailing what she saw and learned. Anthony sees a piece of candy fall to the floor in the elevator, but he cuts his finger on it since there is a razor blade inside. Before fleeing, he is scared once more by the image of Candyman. Anthony returns to Burke, where he discusses how he perceives Candyman's victims and how his art reflects them. According to Burke, Candyman represents numerous victims of racial injustice, but the earliest example dates back to the late 1800s, when a black man named Daniel Robitaille worked as an artist for a white family and fell in love with the eldest daughter. Her father learned of her pregnancy and sent a mob after Robitaille, who was tortured, had his hand severed, was covered in honey to attract bees, and was eventually set on fire. When Brianna views Anthony's artwork, she worries about his sanity. Anthony destroys the mirrors when she tries to say Candyman's name, driving her away to stay with Troy and Grady. A group of young ladies meet in the washroom of a prep school to say Candyman's name after one of them witnessed Anthony's exhibit at the gallery. While this is going on, one of them flees before it's finished, and another female sits in a stall. The girls try to exit the bathroom after nothing happens, but the door is locked. The others can only hear Candyman's hook burrowing into her flesh as one of the girls returns to the mirror. The girl in the stall can only observe her friends being slaughtered through the reflection in a little mirror. Anthony pays a visit to his mother, Anne-Marie, whose body and mind are deteriorating. He begins to discuss Candyman and what he discovered about Cabrini Green. He learns he is the infant that was abducted decades ago. But Anne-Marie reveals that while she thought Helen kidnapped him, she was actually saving him from Candyman, who had obviously targeted Anthony for a sinister purpose. Anthony walks away, convinced that his mother lied to him and withheld information from him. Burke captures both Anthony and Brianna just when they look to be ready to reconcile. He leads them to an abandoned church, where he contacts the cops and pretends to be in danger. Burke sees Candyman as a symbol of resistance to racial injustice, and he knows Anthony, whose body is half rotten, is on his way to become the next Candyman with Daniel Robitaille and Sherman Fields. Burke saws Anthony's right hand off and puts the hook in its place. Brianna manages to free herself just before the cops arrive. Brianna stabs Burke to death with a pen, despite Burke's pursuit. Anthony is weakened and falls into her arms. The cops stormed in and shot him dead. Brianna gets apprehended by some unscrupulous cops. The lead officer tries to persuade her to twist the story to make Anthony look like the lone perpetrator of the murders, or to make her look like a co-conspirator. Brianna, knowing what the cops are up to, requests a look in the mirror in exchange for stating whatever the cops want. Candyman is summoned, and an officer with a cutthroat emerges from the building. Anthony has transformed into Candyman's spirit, and he begins murdering the other officers. Anthony follows the lead cop out the door. Brianna gets out of the car and sees Anthony murder the cop. Anthony is consumed by a swarm of bees and transforms into Robitaille. Robitaille just has one request for Brianna. As additional cops arrive, tell everyone. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.